What's good, y'all? It's the White Shadow Norway, back in the place to be. And I'm going savage for today's flashback to my fifth album, called exactly that, Savage, from 2011. This was also released on vinyl on June 1st in 2020. Very limited edition, so you are definitely lucky if you have this. So let's check out the vinyl a little bit first. You can see the excellent cover artwork here, made by my man Wolf from Belgium, of course. What up? Always did the fantastic artworks for my earlier albums. From my twisted ideas, because I wanted a cover that was inspired by Clockwork Orange. So you see those fellas over here coming at you with in-outs and in-outs and more in-outs, and some of the good old ultra violence there. But you know, I didn't intend to get violent on this album. I'm a peaceful person. Of course, I'm into hip hop, so I'm all about peace, unity, love, and having fun, you know? And the title for this, Savage, I brought it back to the early days of hip hop before there was hip hop, but only street gangs in the Bronx in New York. Of course, it's known in general that the Black Spades morphed into the Zulu Nation, the hip hop organization that, among other things, came up with the name hip hop for the hip hop culture. But before they were called the Black Spades, they were called the Savage Seven. And you also had street gangs in the Bronx called Savage Skulls and Savage Nomads and so on. So, my album title, that was to pay respect to the Savage Seven, aka the Black Spades, aka the Zulu Nation, some of the originators of hip hop right there from back in the day. Hence the title of this album, Savage. This is many people's favorite album of mine, and it is one of mine too. It's I've listened to it again recently, and it's a really solid album. On the vinyl version, you don't have all the songs because it needed to fit on a single vinyl as usual. So you have some of the best songs here and songs that weren't released on vinyl otherwise. And there's a special thanks list down here as well. I will freeze it there for a minute. I won't read the whole thing because it's quite lengthy to be me. I like to keep them short, but a lot of people helped out in this and inspired and everything. So I felt I needed to like make a bigger thank list for this one. My label logo, of course, in black and white here to go with the rest of the cover artwork. Uncut Productions, Beats Production, Cuts, Mix, and Mastering by me, the White Shadow Norway. 2011, and you have one song here co-produced by another guy, and I'm going to talk about that really soon when I go through the album track by track, song by song. I will, as usual, put my phone down and I will show you the actual labels of the vinyl right here. On the A side, it is the same as the front cover, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs on the A side. Then flip it over, and I flip the label artwork a little bit there to a different color scheme, even though it's in black and white. Anyway, I'm gonna put my phone down again and put this back into its cover. Like I said, it's really limited. I think if there's 5 copies of this in the world, that's it, man. So if you have one of those, and I do, you know, this is one of those, then you're lucky. You're absolutely lucky. I hope to get a proper release for all my albums one day, or at least the best of album, you know, on vinyl. That will be a little bit easier to get. But for now, this is it, super limited editions of my 5th album, Savage. That came out late in 2011, like I said, probably around Halloween, if I remember correctly. Anyway, I'm gonna take you through the songs, man. First one is an opening banger called Lyrical Apocalypse, featuring Chino XL, Mark Dees, and Perseverance. Chino XL, I've been talking to for years online. Before this, I worked for a Norwegian hip-hop magazine. Actually, it was the biggest hip-hop magazine in Scandinavia, called King Size Magazine. I was a journalist for them, and I wrote mostly about turntablism, but I also did interviews. And one of the earlier interviews I did for the mag was Chino XL. So I already knew him a little bit online, and I really wanted a verse by him because I thought and I think he is the greatest punch rhymer of all time when it comes to punchlines and wordplay and stuff like that. So, I reached out to him, and yes, he wanted to do a verse. I paid him a little something, of course, everybody's got to eat and all that. And, that's respect. You pay for what you get, you know what I'm saying? And what I got on this was one of the greatest MCs of all time, in my opinion, Chino XL. I waited for a long time to get this verse, I think about 6 months, 10 months, something like that. But finally it arrived in time for the release and the mix of this album. So, yeah, I was super happy, and his verse just bangs super hard. So the perfect verse to start off a hardcore hip-hop album there by Chino XL, Lyrical Apocalypse, of course. My man Mark Dees and Perseverance also does solid verses on that one. Next up, bringing it even more hardcore with Brutes and Savages there, featuring Dr. Ill of Grindhouse Gang and also Powder. And Fest 1 from the Clockworks in Boston, and my man Cloud Craven as well, fellow hip-hop and producer and beatmaker and horror movie fanatic there. And also Self-Titled from the Demigods and Army of the Pharaohs. Yeah, it's a long track, man, and it's really, really brutal. That's all I can say. It goes with the title, Brutes and Savages. Check it out. Mellow it out a little bit on the third song there with a beautiful beat, if I may be so bold to say that myself there. Featuring Shot Stimuli, Wire the Virus, Rest in Power, and my man Awkward. Awkward hooked this up. We were still working on his Worldview project album. So this was one of the songs. I don't know if all the songs that were on my albums made it to that album as well, but I think so. It's a quite long album with some bonus. I think there's like a bonus album as well. Check it out, Worldview Project. Anyway, the song The World there, yeah man, it's just a solid hip-hop tune. Next up, Victory Cigar, featuring some of the finest MCs from Chicago, Altruisms, Lance Ambu, Verbal Kent, and Rusty Chains. Verbal Kent, thank you very much, sir, for helping me to hook that up with everybody. And a banger it became indeed. I did like a competition online for this album. That was like a sample competition, like just post YouTube links to some samples to some songs that would be great to sample off. And I'll pick the best one and I'll use it. And my man from Poland, Marcin HBR Hebrowski, what up, good sir? He won that competition, and I made the beat out of one of his samples that he sent me. That, the first prize was that it was going to make it to my album as well, the beat that I made. So that became the song Victory Cigar. That's actually been very, very popular in Russia and Ukraine lately. I guess that's kind of ironic. Being the situation that goes down there, I can totally hear both sides bumping Victory Cigar for various reasons. But anyway, yeah, man, it's a, what should I say? I don't like to use the term horrorcore because I don't label my music directly horrorcore, but it's a horror themed hip hop song. I would say horror hip hop. That sounds better. And yeah, one of my favorites on this. Beautiful samples by my man from Poland there, HBR, and yeah, it's just a great track, man. The carnage continues, or the savage, if you will, with Hip Hop Will Never Die, featuring the B-Boys. That's my man Donald D of the Rhyme Syndicate and the world famous B-Boys, and of course Brother B also from the B-Boys. They go way, 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 way back to the earliest days of hip hop in the Bronx, and they were on the West Coast as well in Ice-T's Rhyme Syndicate crew. And they're still doing the damn thing. Actually, this song was a remix that came out 10 years before the original. Picture that. The original song, we titled it This Is For The Pioneers, and that dropped, I think, late last year or early this year, something like that. So check that out too. Produced by me, by the B-Boys there. This Is For The Pioneers. But I labeled it Hip Hop Will Never Die. I thought that was a more fitting title for this mix anyway. And it's just your funky, what should I say, late 80s hip hop type banger that I actually jacked a loop of a beat produced by Marley Marl, and I just ran it through the SP1200 to make it sound even fatter, and I added some stuff here and there, and of course did cuts to go with the title, Hip Hop Will Never Die. That title, there's a little sample at the end of the song where somebody's singing that goes, Hip Hop Will Never Die, and so on like that. And that was grabbed from a Boogie Down Productions live tape called Live in Japan that was kind of released. It was, I think there was like 50 copies made, so you're definitely lucky if you have that one. But yeah, they were on tour. BDP was on tour in Japan, and you know, I was down with BDP when I lived in New York, and I got a hold of that tape. So yeah, I used a little bit of that for this one, and those were songs that BDP never released, two unreleased songs. Anyway, next up, we get deeper and deeper and deeper and deep on Cluedo featuring my man Son of Saturn, and you know it's going to get deep on the topics. My original idea for this was actually to make a whodunit mystery as a rap song, a whodunit murder mystery on record, because you know I'm a big fan of that, like Agatha Christie, Poirot, Miss Marple, and all that stuff, mystery movies and books. I'm a really big fan. I've been solving mysteries since I was like 5 years old, you know. So don't ever try to trick me, because I will see through it, because I've been a detective my whole life, kind of, without actually being so. A music man is what I am more than anything. Anyway, instead of a whodunit, Son of Saturn flipped it in an even better way and made it a story about the bloodlines of the power elites in the world and the Illuminati and all that. Also, he made a music video for it that I guess was really controversial. It got thousands of views on YouTube, and then it was banned by YouTube. It's back there now, but you know, a discussion started about all that in the comments of the video and everything about the power elites, and I guess it just got a little too heavy for YouTube. Anyway, there, if you like to go deep on those topics and listen to some great lyrical skills, then Son of Saturn got you on Cluedo, and the beat is like I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of tango-ish. It sounds like the soundtrack to some kind of power elite meeting or something like that. Next up, we go more hardcore with Professional Assassins featuring Evil Intentions. That's my peoples from Kansas. Anonymics and Formaldehyde, my man Formaldehyde, I can't even speak today, my B, and my man Rich Mahogany as well. They're on Professional Assassins. Next up, we keep it hardcore there too, with Banished Names on the feature and Operation Shutdown. I pushed the epic orchestral style even further and mixed it with the kind of the sinister, dark, horror, hard style there, and of course, you know, hard boom bap hip hop. That's what I did for a lot of this. Talking about hard, the next one definitely is their Soldiers, featuring Wordsworth and Klepto, and also on the one after that called The Blitz, which is on some going to war type shit, definitely, featuring Lieutenant Mana. Next one, that was like an underdog of the album that really became one of the biggest songs on it, one of the biggest hits, if you will. You know, to the stretch, to the extent that underground hip hop can become a hit, but that became really big. A really dope track though, featuring Prime Prolific, React 20, 6 syllables, and Quote 1, and it was called The Art of Raw. Of course, you know, I flipped the Sun Tzu, The Art of War a little bit on the title there. And yeah, just a dope epic hip hop banger there. Next up, more basic 90s style of boom bap on 3 The Hard Way. That was also for the Worldview project from my man Awkward, featuring Rusty Jux and Poison Pen on that one. Next up, Conspiracy of Silence, featuring Winnie Pass and Genocide. That was a deal I did with Genocide for that song. And of course, you know, Winnie Pass from Jedi Mind Tricks and LGP. Tears it up hardcore on the mic, as always, on Conspiracy of Silence. Next up, I got really jazzy with it with my man Infinito 2017, aka Marcellus Lovelace from Chicago, on this here. And when we get together to make songs, we always get jazzy on some Sun Ra, just I don't know, bebop type shit, man, and just go off on some jazz shit, as we did on this one too. Dark jazz with vibes and road samples and stuff like that, and it's called Walking Wonderful, and a wonderful track it is. Next up, Master Plan featuring the Beastman from Milwaukee, of course, there. A quite hardcore boom bap banger from them. Next up is Death Trap featuring Absolute Carnage, Father Death, Dangerous, and Jedediah Ben Zion is introduced here. I will talk more about him on the next album. But anyway, it's a cinematic, kind of laid back, mysterious type of track and beat there on Death Trap. Loosely named after Father Death there. And we're at the end, my friends, on track 17 with a long, epic banger called Dedication 2, or better yet, Final Call of the Barbarians featuring Master Ace, Virtuoso, Jedi Mind Tricks affiliate there, of course, The Problematics, and Edo G from Boston. Yeah, man, that's a banger. Definitely a perfect track to end this Savage album. Otherwise, I don't know any place to be. And you have hopefully been enjoying the flashback to my 5th album, Savage. My 6th album is, of course, up next. There's more to come. So, but definitely, revisit the Savage album. It holds up well nowadays in 2023, even though it was released in 2011 and the vinyl in 2020 then. Okay, I'll catch you later, man. It's summertime. I'm going out into the sun and, just kick back and relax. Hope y'all do the same. Talk soon, all right? Wild Shadow Norway signing off. Peace. And it's Savage.